Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Tariq Amin, lecturer, Department of English, Cohort, University of Science and Technology, Cohort. A warm welcome to the course of Communication Skills with the code ENG134. This is video number 1 of the lecture number 26. In this video number 1, we are going to discuss letter writing. Lecture outlines include: first of all, we will discuss what is letter. After that we will discuss different types of letter, such as informal letter, formal letter, and tips for writing formal letter. So, what is letter? A letter is a written or printed communication that is directed to a person or organization. A letter is a written and printed communication, and this written or printed communication is directed to a person. It can be directed to a person or it can be directed to an organization. For example, if your letter is directed to an organization such as CUST, such as NAML, or such as UCP or Peshawar University, so your letter is directed to an organization, whereas your letter can be directed to a person as well, such as you can write a formal letter to your teacher as well. You can write a formal letter to your clerk as well. So this is actually something directed to a person, whereas when you write to an organization, it means that your letter is directed to an organization. Types of letters. There are two major types of letters. The first one is formal letters and the second one is informal letters. First of all, we will discuss what are formal letters, what are informal letters. Informal, as the name suggests, that informal letters are the letters which keep us in touch with family and friends. These are the letters that keep us in touch with our family members and with our friends. These are usually chatty, these are like chats, and these are informal. These are not formal. Informal letters are not formal but informal, and they are chatty. They are like chats, and they are done in the way we chat with our friends. When we need to communicate a lot of information, we write informal letters when we need to communicate lot of information. And when we want to communicate something that is difficult to say face to face, when there is something that is difficult to say face to face, we write that in informal letter. We use informal letter for that as well, because there are always some cases where we can't discuss those things. We can't discuss those cases face to face, and for such cases we use informal letters. Now, what are formal letters? Formal letters are the opposite of informal letters. Formal letters are letters to people whom we don't know on personal level. These are the written that are usually written to those people who are unfamiliar to us. These are written to people who we don't know on personal level. This is the point, but sometimes we write formal letters to also people who are familiar to us, and we also write formal letters to those people who are our friends, who are familiar to us. We can say that we know them on personal level as well. We write formal letters to apply for a job. Whenever we apply for a job, we write formal letter for that. We don't write informal letter for that, but we write formal letter for that when we apply for a job. And when we want to make a complaint, we write formal letter as well. Now, there are some key differences between formal letter and informal letter. A formal letter is one Written in formal language. Formal letter is written in formal language. It is written in a particular stipulated format. It follows a particular standard format, prescribed format, and for official purpose. It is written for official purpose. It is not written for unofficial purpose, because informal letters are used for unofficial purposes. Formal letters are usually used for official purposes because they are written in formal language and they are written in stipulated format. A letter is said to be informal. A letter is said to be informal when it is written in a friendly manner. It is written in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with. Informal letters are written in friendly manner. They are written in friendly manner, whereas formal letters are not written in friendly manner. And for informal letters are usually written to someone you are familiar with, and most of the time formal letters are written to someone you are not familiar with. Formal letters are written for official. They are written for official or professional communication, official communication and professional communication. On the contrary, informal letters are used for casual. They are used for casual or personal communication. Look at the difference between formal and informal letters. Informal letters are used for personal communication, whereas formal letters are used for professional communication. And formal letters are used for official communication, whereas informal letters are used for casual communication, not official communication. This is the third point. There is a manner prescribed for formal writing formal letter. There are some standard formats for writing formal letters. There are prescribed format for formal letters, as opposed to informal communication, which does not allow any format, which does not follow any format. On the contrary, informal communication, informal letters does not follow any format. They can be written in any format, whereas you cannot write a formal letters in any format. You would have to follow standard prescribed format for that. Standard prescribed format for writing formal letter. Formal letters are usually written in the third person. Formal letters are usually written in the third person. However, for business letters, first person is also used in formal letters. Usually we use a third person in the formal letters, but if it is a business letter, then you can use first person in that as well. On the contrary, on the opposite side, on the other hand, informal letters are written in first, second, and third person as well. Now there are some tips for writing a formal letter. When you write a formal letter, you need to keep into consideration these important tips. The first one is be concise. You should be concise when you write formal letter. You should not include extra material. You should not include unneeded description, unneeded illustration, and unnecessary description in your formal letter. You should be very much precise and concise. You should write everything in concise manner. You should be precise in your formal letter. State the purpose. State the basic purpose of your formal letter in the first paragraph, and do not veer from the subject. Focus on your subject. All the sentences of your formal letter should revolve around just a single topic. You shouldn't veer from the basic topic. You shouldn't veer from the subject of your formal letter. Just keep yourself limited to it. Don't discuss other things in your formal letter. Try to avoid flowery language and long words. Try to avoid flowery language, try to avoid bombastic language, try to avoid using high frequency words in your formal letter, and also try to avoid the use of long words. Use short words and short sentences. Keep the letter short. Keep your letter short and to the point. This is very much important. You need to keep your letter short because no one has time to read your formal letter. If your letter is short, the receiver will read it. If your letter is long, the receiver will not be able to read your letter with concentration and attention. So keep your letter short and to the point. Just discuss the focal point of your the focal point of your formal letter, and don't discuss other things in your letter. The second tip is use the right tone. Your tone should also be right in formal letter because it is usually written for a business purpose, for getting a job. If your tone is not right, the employers, the different organization will not prefer you. They will not even call you for an interview. That is why whenever you write a formal letter to different organizations, your tone must be right. A business letter A business letter or formal letter should be written in a tone. It should be written in a tone that is slightly more formal than your everyday language. Your formal letter should be different from the language that you use in your formal language should be different from the language that you use in your everyday life, that you use with your kids, that you use with your family members. So your language that you use in formal letters should be different. It should be formal. And it should be written in a tone. It should be written in a particular tone that is slightly more formal than your everyday language. Your tone should also be formal. Avoid the following. You should avoid the following while writing formal letter. First of all, slang. Slang or jargon should be avoided because these create bad impressions. The second point is that should be avoided is contractions such as you should avoid contractions such as I am, can't, and it is. You should write complete words. You should avoid the use of contractions. And you should also avoid the use of vague words because they create ambiguities such as good and nice. You should avoid vague words. And be polite and respectful. You must be polite in your formal letter and you should be respectful. Even if you are complaining to an organization, you should be polite and you should be respectful. This is an important point that we had, I think, missed, that there are complaints letters as well. Letters are not always written for getting a job. There are some types of letter. Complaint letter is one of the type of letters. So you can write a letter to complain something as well. Proofread. This is also very much important. After you are done with the writing task, after you have written down the formal letter, now you need to proofread it. Once you have written your formal letter, carefully check the grammar and spelling. You should check the grammar mistakes, you should check spelling mistakes, punctuation mistakes, and you should check everything after you have written the letter. Use the spell checker on your computer and then reread the letter because the spell checker will not likely catch every error. When you are done with the writing task and you have written formal letter, now you can use spell checker on your computer on your MS Word. This option is there in MS Word. You can check spellings and grammar of your written text with the help of that option as well, with the help of that facility. Now and then reread the letter after you have checked your spelling on your computer. Now you need to reread it yourself. Reread the letter because the spell checker will not likely catch every error. The spell checkers cannot be relied upon because they cannot to catch every error. That is why you need to reread the letter. Use a dictionary or thesaurus if necessary. If you think that using dictionary is necessary or using thesaurus is necessary, so you should use it. Check the grammar and punctuation. Check the grammar and punctuation for correctness and make sure the sentences are complete. Make sure the sentences are complete. Make sure the sentences are grammatically correct and make sure that you have used the punctuation marks appropriately and mistakes are there in the use not there in the use of different words different clauses, phrases and sentences and punctuation marks. And proofread it through others too. You should proofread it yourself and after that you should proofread it through others too. You can proofread it through your friends, your teachers and other people as well. Errors may diminish the impact of the statement or impression you are trying to make. When you write formal letter, you are trying to make an impression, and these different spelling mistake, grammar mistake, punctuation mistakes can diminish that impact. So you should avoid these different mistakes. Use proper format and presentation when you are writing a formal letter. Remember that the first impression is the one that lasts. Use good quality paper. When you write your formal letter, you should use good quality paper. The quality of your paper should be good. And a matching envelope for your formal letter. The envelope should also be the matching one. Make sure the recipient is addressed properly. When you address the recipient, he or she should be addressed properly. You should properly address him, and that his or her name is spelled correctly. Sometimes we make mistakes. And writing the name of the persons the recipients addressed. So we should not make mistakes in writing the names of the recipient, now writing the names of the different people to whom we are addressing our letter. Do not forget to sign the letter. You should sign the letter as well. You should not forget signing it. These are the references. Thank you very much for listening to the video. Allah Hafiz.